Hi guys, this is Sai Kumar Kortiwada. In this video, we will learn what are the lifecycle callbacks of a web component and how to utilize them and how to use in our web component creations. So let me quickly jump into Visual Studio Code for better understanding. Let me go here, and already we have developed this .html and index.js. I have embedded this index.js into my index.html, and I'm trying to use card web component, which is a component which I created with the custom elements and I am using in my HTML content. Let me go here and let me reload this. You got something like a card and an error message on it, and we have something like a sample button. So let me remove the down one, the second card web component, and let me reload this. We have only one card web component. So in this web component, how we can use the callbacks, we'll see in this session. So the first one is connected callback. There is something called as connected callback whenever your web component is initialized and injected in your DOM. This connected callback will be executed. So let me write one console called as connected callback. So this is my connected callback, and let me save this. And afterwards we have one more thing called as disconnected callback. So once the callback is disconnected, then this will be called. Let me use console.log of disconnected callback. So these are the two callbacks, and one more callback is attribute changed callback. So this will be called whenever there is an attribute change happen in my UI. So let me use console.log of attribute changed callback. And there is one more last callback, that is adopted callback. So this will be called when the component is moved from one document to another document. So let me use console.log of adopted callback. So whenever the movement happen of a web component from one page to other page or from one document to other document, this adopted callback will be triggered. We'll not discuss about this as of now, just understand the definition. Let's understand about connected callback. Let me go here and reload. So let me use inspect, and if you go here and if you see the console, you can see connected callback, because whenever I'm reloading this, I'm launching or using this particular web component on my HTML, and that is rendered in my UI. So that is the reason you are able to see connected callback lifecycle. And for example, let me remove this, and let me use something like a button, and inside the button show connected callback, and let me use a button click event on click is equal to show web component. So I'm showing the web component here. Let me use this show web component as a function. Let me use a function, and inside this function I can use show web component. What I want to do here is I just want to create this web component now. So how to create any element on the DOM? We can use something like create element. So let me use a custom element is equal to document dot create element of, what is my element name? The element name is card web component. Let me copy this and paste here. And now what I want to do is I just want to attach this create element inside this body as an append child. What I can do is document dot append child of custom element. Let me save this, go here, and let's reload this. So the connected callback is not called it or invoked it. Let me click on this show connected callback, and if you click this append child on node, only or one element on the document. Why? Because we are not using a body property. So now document.body.append child, whenever we are using the body property, then it will append to the child which are already existing, and now the button is already existing. Below this it should have. So let me clear it off and reload. So let me click on this. If you see here, connected callback is invoked, and you can see something like a custom element which is already created by using a card web component. So now when the user clicks on the show web component, this card web component is getting invoked and rendered on the UI. So that is the reason we are able to call it as connected callback. When it will call disconnected callback, let's understand it. So whenever this custom element is removed from the DOM, then that will be calling your disconnected. So I can use something like one more function, and this function is hide web component, or let me use remove web component. So just I want to remove this web component from my document body. So let me use the same context, but to use this particular custom element in both the functions, let me create this as a global variable. And now custom element can be used in both the places, but this time I will use remove child of custom element. Let me save this and go here and reload. Let me test this show connected. Yes, it is calling the connected callback. Let me add one more button called as remove web component, and this time I'll call this remove web component, and this will be something like remove connected callback. Save, or just you can use remove web component for better readability, and this is something like a show web component, and save this. Go here and let me reload. Now you got both show and remove. So you can see here disconnected callback. Whenever the user clicks on the remove web component, then the disconnected callback will be called, and whenever it will render on your DOM, then it will show the connected callback. So let me show you again. Show web component, this is showing connected callback, and whenever we click on the remove web component, it is removing the web component. For example, if you want to update, or if you want to call attribute changed callback, then what we can do, how we can do, whenever we see this attribute changed callback, we can understand something like whenever there is an change in the attribute, then this should be called. What are the different types of attributes we have? Height and a width. Okay, let me add that whenever the user clicks on some button, my width should be increased a bit. So let me use function update width, and let me use this custom element dot set attribute of, what is the attribute I am using here? That is nothing but a width. Let me use this width, and let me pass this width value as 12 rem. That means default is 18. I'm reducing it, or we can even use 20 rem, which will increase the width of this particular value. And let me use this update width on one more button. Let me copy this button, and let me use update width, copy and paste here, update width attribute. So I'm trying to update the width attribute of a web component. Let me save this. That means just I'm trying to update the one of the attribute. So whenever I click on this, it should update. So show web component, and when I click this, nothing is reflecting and no callback has been reflected. Why? Because whenever we are using attribute changed callback, it is mandatory to tell our component or our class when this class should be retriggered, on which changes of attributes it should retrigger for us. So we have to tell our component what are the attributes which changes. So let me define by using static get. There is one method called as observed attributes. Whenever we are returning some value, return the array of attributes which should be call that callback whenever they change. In this case, my width is the property. Whenever the width changes, it should call this attribute changed callback. Let me go back and reload. Let me click on show web component. Now connected callback called update with attribute changed callback. Now it is calling. Why? Because I have defined that particular property or an attribute, that is width, inside our observed attributes. If I am not giving this particular width, then whenever I am updating this width, it will not trigger. Let me refresh this show web component, and whenever I'm updating the width, nothing has been triggered. And whenever I give width in this, whenever there is a change in the width, it will reflect that particular callback, call as attribute changed callback. Let me show the web component, and let me update the width, then attribute changed callback has been triggered. And let me go here. Actually speaking, attribute changed callback have three optional parameters, that is which attribute has been changed, attribute name, and then what is the previous value of an attribute, and what is the current value of an attribute. So we can just print them, attribute name, comma, previous value, comma, current value. Save this, go here and let me reload. show web component, and if you click here, it is showing I have updated the attribute name width, and my previous value is null and the current value is 20 rem. Why it is showing null as a previous attribute? Because we are assigning the width value by using direct dot assignment, not the set attribute assignment. Whenever we are giving this width as a set attribute value, then it will be showing some other value. Okay, so now the value is 20 rem and the previous value is null. So if you update again after some time with that 10 or 40 rem, then my previous will be 40 rem and the current will be 20 rem. So what I can do is just I'll use the same update width, but this time I'll use 40. So update width, but this time I'm passing 40 here and 20 here. So for our understanding, let me use 20 width and 40 width. So let me go here and receive that width value and pass here to this width and add with rem. Let me save this, go here and reload. You got two buttons. Let me click on show web component. Now the web component connected to our DOM. Let me click on 20. Now the previous value is null, but if I click on 40, the previous value is 20 and the current value is 40. So let me click on 40. If you see here, width, and now it is 40 rem and the previous value is 20 rem. Again, if I click on 20, the previous value is 40. So 40 rem and 20 rem. That is how it will be working. And if you want to change other properties also, then it is mandatory to add such properties in this particular array values. Whatever the properties which we are adding inside the observed attributes, whenever the change happen to the observed attributes, that particular attributes or the properties will trigger attribute changed callback. Otherwise that will never trigger and it will be in a private zone. So this is how you can use lifecycle callbacks of a web component in JavaScript. If you want to learn backend development, then follow the Medium blog. I'll provide the link in the description. I hope it will be helpful to you a lot. So please try to follow, like, share the Medium blog. Hope you like my explanation. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you.